The new 2027 MotoGP regulations have been announced today, so let's pick them apart. Let's see what difference we think it's going to make in the real world. So, firstly, the main sort of headline grabbing part of it. So, the first point is engine size is being reduced from 1000cc currently to 850cc now. This is in an effort to decrease top speeds, making the sport safer, increase mileage, making it more efficient and sustainable. This is quoting directly from the MotoGP press release. The maximum bore will reduce from 81mm to 75mm. So what this means in real terms is the stroke of an engine, so the distance the piston has to travel from the very, very top to the very, very bottom, because the capacity is decreasing. With that decrease in bore, that means that the stroke remains pretty much the same, and that will also mean that rev limits are by and large going to stay pretty much where they are. Very technical way of explaining that, in essence, they've shrunk the CC, but to accommodate that, they've also decreased the maximum bore width as well. Quick bit on the decreased top speeds making the sport safer point. I don't know how many of you that are watching this will remember the 800cc era, which was from about 2007 until about 2014, my memory serves, because I've not looked at it, because I've not researched anything, of course. Basically what they did at the end of the 990cc era, when again top speeds were getting a bit out of hand, they dropped engine sizes to 800cc in an effort to make it safer again, because the bikes were getting too big for the circuits, a little bit like they are now. So what they basically ended up with towards the end of the run was an 800cc engine that was very, very expensive to produce, because it was making pretty much the same power as the 990cc engines before it, only with 4/5 of the capacity. They were extremely peaky. They were extremely difficult to manage that power, because all the power would come in one big lump at the top end, which meant you needed hideously expensive and complicated traction control strategies to make it work. And because the bikes were spending a lot more time on the edge of the tyre, so they were making the lap time up by being faster in the corners, where most of the crashes tend to happen. Very few MotoGP bikes tend to crash in a straight line. The majority of them tend to crash into, during, or out of a corner, and the 800cc bikes were spending far longer in this window of into, during, and coming out of a corner. And the Bridgestone tyres as well were becoming more and more optimised towards carrying corner speed. So it didn't work before. Maybe it'll work now. Let's see what happens. It sort of depends what checks and balances they're going to put in place in terms of electronic strats as well, I suppose, to try and control the costs, basically. But if we end up doing what we did before with the previous 800cc bikes, it won't actually make much of a difference. It will just mean that an engine becomes even more expensive to produce. And in addition to this, they have also they're also giving them one fewer engine per season. So currently the bikes are allowed, if you assume you don't have any concessions, currently you're allowed 7 engines. They're dropping that to 6 engines for 2027 as well. So not only have you got to try and get the same amount of power out of less CCs for your engine, you've also now got to make it last longer. So that's going to mean more in engine development to try and make them last longer, make the power, etc., etc. So I don't think this is actually going to cut many costs. Maybe it'll make it safer. Maybe, well, obviously it's going to increase mileage on the engine, but in order to get that mileage, they've got to spend the money in the R&D to make sure the engine will do that. So we'll see. In a time when there is not a great deal of money sloshing around, this seems like a little bit silly, but hey ho. Right, on to the next piece, fuel. As already announced, MotoGP will race with 100% sustainable fuel from 2027, rising from the minimum of 40% the sport has raced since 2024. And as part of the new regulations, the fuel tank capacity is also being reduced from 22 litres currently in a normal length race to 20 litres in a normal race, and then they're going down to 11 litres during the sprint race, which I believe is from 12. Currently 12 litres in a sprint, it's going to 11. Currently 22 litres in a full length race, and that's going to go to 20. But again, with a decrease in CC, that just sort of seems like something you'd do. They're going to go to 100% sustainable fuel. There is no control fuel in MotoGP. Obviously, there is a spec for the fuel that each of the individual teams supplies producers. So Repsol, Shell, whoever you use, there is a specification. So the fuel will need to be of non-fossil origin. It remains to be seen how they're going to police that. That's not yet been finalised, but that's what's going to happen from 2027. Aerodynamics, the bane of everyone's life at the minute, they will be more tightly controlled from 27, with the aim of minimizing their negative effects. So basically the width of the front fairing will be 50 millimeters narrower and the nose is pushed back 50 millimeters. Basically what this means, it'll reduce the effect of the aero, so it's going to give them less room, less aerospace to have aerodynamic surfaces. Supposedly this is going to increase closer racing, and the seat unit will also now become part of the aerodynamic package, part of the homologated area. So if you're not already aware, at the minute with aero they're only allowed to have I believe 2 updates per season. Could be happy to be corrected on that, but from 27 they're only allowed 1 update per season, and this area will include the seat unit, so that means there will be no more 23 different configurations on a seat unit over a weekend. Stegosaurus spikes, little spoiler thing that goes around the camera. This is going to be 1 update per year, and that seat unit is going to be part of the homologated aero surface, if you like. Ride height and whole shot devices, they're gone. Remains to be seen how Ducati are going to get around that one, but I'm sure Ducati will roll up at the Qatar test or round 1 at Qatar at 2027 with something that will do something pretty similar. But yeah, ride height, whole shot devices, shapeshifters, whatever you want to call them, all those devices are banned. GPS data, to level the playing field even further, GPS data from all riders will be available to all teams after each session. Now this is just going to be speed and position, I believe. Let me have a quick check. So basically everyone can see each other's GPS, but it is only going to be speed and position. It's not going to be full telemetry, obviously, because that would be super sensitive and the factories never let that happen. Concessions. The current concession system introduced at the end of the 23 season will continue. So basically the more you perform well in the start of the 2027 season, this means the fewer concessions you're going to get. If you don't know what concessions are, short answer is that if you've not won a race, been on the podium, etc., basically you get more testing time, more testing time, more engines. So that system, whatever way it looks, is going to continue for 2027. I think that pretty much covers it. There is a couple of other bits that are sort of here buried in it. Transmission, number of permitted gear ratios has been reduced from 24 to 16 apparently. So they're using fewer gear ratios. Minimum weight has been reduced from 157 to 153 kilos. I don't know what that is in pounds. Sorry. Who uses pounds anyway? Sorry, America. I believe that is everything. Oh, here we go. This is the full technical regulations. Decision of the Grand Prix Commission. Oh, engines, of course, 4-stroke only with 4 cylinders. Boring. Engine durability, yeah, 6 races per season. GPS data transmission, minimum weight, suspension, no ride height devices. This is the exact wording, which will change obviously between now and 2027. No ride height devices of any kind will be committed, including whole shot devices activated solely for race starts. Fuel and oil are going to be of non-fossil origin. Let me know what you think about these changes in the comments down below. Do you think the reduction in CC to 850cc will make any difference whatsoever, or do you think it will just lead to the bikes being hideously complex as they were before? Do you think it will actually make anything safer? Let me know if you think it's going to be more expensive. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you like this kind of content, hit the like button, do all that good sweet stuff that YouTube really likes.